From the Waldorf Astoria in Midtown Manhattan, I'm Mark Golub.
And I'm Nily Falic.
And we're here at the 2014 FIDF Gala, the gala celebrating the Friends of the IDF, which of course celebrates the wonderful young men and women who are in the Israeli Defense Forces. And Ellie and I are right now standing by one of the posters that grace the second floor here at the Waldorf. And the slogan is always the same. It's here at the bottom of the poster. Their job is to look after Israel. Ours is to look after them. And some 1,400 people are here, all in support of the men and women of the IDF. And Ellie, you've been here many times. We've been together. What's it mean to you when you're on your way here, and what's it mean to you to be at the FIDF Gala?
Mark, I have to tell you, when I think about the young men and women who are defending the state of Israel and meeting them here at this event, it just blows me away. They're so young and they have so much responsibility on their hands. They have the lives of other young men and women. They've got the entire country's security in their hands. And I just love meeting them and really having the opportunity to talk to them and thank them.
And by the way, what Ellie says is so true of so many of the people here. We're here to say thank you to the young people in the IDF. Ellie and I want to talk to some of the people who are here, let you hear their thoughts. We want to talk to some of the young soldiers who are here. And then we're going to take you into the gala itself, which is hosted this year once again by Arthur Stark and Monica Crowley. Please stay with us. At the 2014 FIDF Gala, what a pleasure I have standing with a dear friend and somebody who has made an extraordinary contribution not only to the state of Israel but to world Jewry. He's the national director of the FIDF, the Friends of the IDF, Jerry Gerson, Major General, correct? What's your actual rank?
Major General.
Major General, okay, I got it right. First of all, the question never should be old for you. You're an Israeli. You've given your life to the IDF and now to the FIDF. What's it mean to you to come to the Waldorf and see this kind of outpouring of affection and commitment to the young men and women in the IDF?
There is nothing such as to see 1,400 people gathering here in the Waldorf Astoria, showing their support to the state of Israel and to the brave men and women that protecting not just the state of Israel and not just every Jew worldwide, but the norms, the standards and values of the Western society as a whole. They are there for all of us. And I'm very proud to be here in the last 6 years to do this mission for them and to connect Jews and non-Jews around the world, and especially in the United States, to the state of Israel through these brave men and women.
I want to ask you a delicate question. I want your best answer for me. There are people here in the United States, even some American Jews, who are critical of Israeli occupation and say that it is in some way destroying the Israeli soul, especially the soul of the young Israeli who has to serve in Gaza when we were in Gaza, or to serve on the West Bank, etc., etc. I want you to speak to American Jewry now. What do you want to tell us about the soul of the Israeli people and the soul of the Israeli soldier?
Thank you for the question, because FIDF, like the IDF, is not a political organization. We do what we do above any conflict, above any dilemma, above any things that can harm the relation. We are about united the Jewish people worldwide, together around behind the state of Israel, behind our soldiers. This is what's important. And all the rest, I will leave to the politicians.
And now an extraordinary honor, standing with Israel's Chief of Staff, General Benny Gantz. And by the way, what's it like for you to come across an ocean, to come into a Waldorf Astoria ballroom, see 1,400 American Jews here for one reason, to thank you personally and to thank all the young men and women who serve under you right now in the IDF. What's it mean for you, General?
It means a lot for me, and actually I came here for the same reason exactly, just to say thank you for this huge support that we've been getting all over the years, including this year, and I'm sure in the future as well. So it is my pleasure, actually.
I want to ask you one question, You can answer it any way you want. Every now and then you hear people question the actions of the IDF. For you personally, as somebody who has spent a lifetime in the IDF, how do you articulate and explain the ethic, the morality that you believe sweeps through the men and women of the IDF? What's the ethic of the Israeli army?
We come from Jewish heritage, from democratic values heritage, from IDF heritage, and we are bound to those values that we shared along those years, and we're going to keep it for the future. So we use any possible way to defend our countries, to make sure that we are defending it in the less power we need, but enough to succeed in our missions. And that's how we see it.
I'm here with Nily Falic, who is the chairman of the board of the National Friends of the IDF. Nily, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with FIDF.
Well, when it was the 50th anniversary of the States of Israel, that was about 16 years ago, I was asked to chair the Gala in Miami, and there was no FIDF active in Miami at the time, and that's when I got involved. I chaired it, and it's like a germ in your blood. Once you're in FIDF, it's always FIDF.
So it's kind of amazing to hear that there was once not a chapter, now you've got 1,400 people here at your dinner. Nily, what do you think is the reason that you're seeing such tremendous growth and support for what you're doing at the Friends of IDF?
I feel elated, ecstatic for the soldiers, because that's what we are here for the soldiers, for their well-being, for the education, for the spiritual needs. And this is a wonderful, wonderful bond between our communities in the United States and the State of Israel through the IDF, through the soldiers.
Well, you recognize this gentleman, one of the all-time great leaders of American Jewry, now the executive vice chair of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Malcolm Hoenlein. And I ask you the same question, but it never gets old. What's it mean to you? And Malcolm is virtually, in some way, obligated and very often wants to be at any major Jewish event, major Jewish gathering. I don't know anybody who is on the move more than he is, and so I run into him all the time, and it's a thrill. But
I'm a spy for the caterers.
But I want to know, you make a special point of being here at the Gala for the FIDF. Malcolm, why?
There are several reasons. One, because they're a very valued member of the Conference of Presidents. Two, because they represent a unique service to the Jewish people. The FIDF is a bond, it's a bridge between American Jewry and the essence of Israel. The people that we are supporting by coming here tonight, the people you're helping, are people who are defending us. It's not just the Jewish state that the IDF defends, it's the Jewish people all over the world. More and more we see how important the role is, and whether it's setting up a hospital in the Philippines or in Haiti, or the rescue of Jews from Ethiopia, or protecting Jews in other places, the IDF is the safety of the American Jewish community, the world Jewish community, and of course the State of Israel.
By the way, it is interesting, is it not? And I was talking to an Israeli soldier a few moments ago. The IDF does not simply protect the borders of the State of Israel and the people of the State of Israel. In some mysterious but very real way, Malcolm, and I want you to speak about it, the IDF is the Jewish people's defense forces, yes?
Whose heart isn't set aflutter when you see a young soldier coming through, when you see the pictures of the ship of Iranian missiles that they brilliantly took over, but to me even more was the Shabbat meal that they had on the board the ship that's now all over the internet. Does your heart not explode? Do you not feel the pride? What other army in the world is there that demonstrates this kind of a commitment to our history, a tradition, to our heritage, at the same time is on the cutting edge of modern technology, is the envy of the whole world when they think about Israel and what the IDF can accomplish? And I know, traveling to Arab countries, that begrudgingly sometimes, but they all acknowledge how much respect they have for what the IDF does and how they do it. There's no more humane argument, and the chutzpah that they get compared, that Amnesty International would put out a report calling him trigger happy when they're standing there defending a border against thousands of missiles with thousands of terrorists, with all of the things that they're up against, and they take almost no civilian casualties and put their own lives at risk, and that they're subjected to that criticism. And I think FIDF, because it enables you to directly assist the soldiers, and especially all the lone soldiers. How many hundreds of American young...
Explain what a lone soldier is.
It's those who go without their parents and go to serve for 2 years and some to stay. But what's amazing, I spoke to a dinner with hundreds of them. They're not people who are misfits, who don't know where they are. These are the cream of the crop. They're their best that we have, young men and young women. But they have such a Zionist ideal, they have such a commitment, and they go there to translate that commitment into reality. And I think everybody should take the opportunity to meet them. There are events with them throughout the year when they come here. Show them the appreciation and the respect we have for what they're doing.
What a pleasure I have now standing with Mort Zuckerman, who was the former chairman of the Conference of Presidents. Of course, he's known for all of his work in media. And Mort, you always make a point of being at the FIDF Gala. Why? What brings you here?
Why? How could you ask me that question? It answers itself, okay? You have here an organization that is critical to the defense of, the past of, and the future of Israel, okay? And everybody puts their lives on the line or their bodies on the line, and we sit there in a very much more protected environment. I have total admiration for them. I always have and I always will.
There are times when you hear in America, even among American Jews, some criticism of things that the IDF does. When you hear this criticism, what goes through your mind, and what do you wish Americans, Jews and non-Jews, Americans, understood more when it comes to the ethic of the IDF?
Well, from all of my exposure to the IDF, and it's been quite significant, they have a wonderful ethic, okay? Do I think anybody is perfect? I have yet to meet a perfect person, except when I look in the mirror. Then I have no problem. Until then, they have done the most fantastic job under the most difficult circumstances. I have nothing but total admiration for them, and I'll be happy to debate any person that has a different view.
I have the pleasure now of sitting with Lieutenant Dolev Bar-Galifa. What part of the service are you with, the IDF?
The IDF, I'm from Givati Brigade, and now I'm a liaison officer to the Marine Corps here in the United States.
Fabulous. So first of all, where were you born?
I was born in Israel.
Where?
In Kiryat Ono. It's a small place. Now it's a huge place near Tel Aviv.
How long have you been in the United States?
This is my second year, and I'm going back to Israel this July to command there in Gaza Strip.
Lovely. What's it mean to you, Dada, to come here and see 1,400 Americans, American Jews, who are here with one message for you? And the message is how much we appreciate what you do and how much we love you. What's it mean to an Israeli soldier like yourself?
It's warming my heart, and it's giving me a feeling that it is really important for some people in the world that we maintain to be strong. To be strong in this crazy neighborhood that we are living in.
I've asked this of many other Israeli soldiers. Dada, do you hate Palestinians?
Hate?
Yes.
I educated by my parents to do not hate anyone on the earth. A person is a person, period. You need to help, you need to support, you need to do, actions to make the world to be a greater place. But if someone wants to kill you, I'm not hating anyone, but I'm not allowed to anyone to kill me or my sons or my parents or my family or my nation.
Beautifully said. There are some people in America, even some American Jews, who hear criticism of the ethic, of the morality of the Israeli army, and who hear that occupation on the West Bank is somehow destroying the soul of the young Israeli soldier. I want you to speak to me, to the extent you can, about what you feel the morality and ethic is that you were taught as you become an Israeli soldier, and to what extent do you, as someone who both has served and you have to teach other young soldiers how to be on the West Bank, how to defend the border, do you feel it is in some way destroying the Israeli soul?
I don't know if I will answer your question, but I will tell you something about the morality, okay? And I hope that it will answer. The morality, when you defend your country, when you defend your home, it's pretty easy to be in a good morality and in a good shape of mind. We try to make the best to do not hurt innocent people, and we are doing it, I think, if I will say, in the most successful way in the world.
I'm here at the Friends of IDF Gala with Lieutenant Inav here with us from Israel. Lieutenant Inav, you are an incredible young woman. Tell us a little bit about your experience in the Army as a female soldier.
Okay, so my role is a flight simulator instructor officer, which basically means I train pilots and navigators on F-15 how to fly and how to manage malfunctions and emergencies during the flight. It's a role that specifically is about women training men and women as pilots. So most of us are women.
So you're saying that most of you are women. Is there any kind of special concern that you have as a woman in the Army?
I think it's very fulfilling for a woman in specific because I feel very special and I feel very proud of what I do. It's very meaningful to be the one that teaches the pilots how to manage malfunctions because eventually I can save their life with one simple word. So,
Lieutenant Inav, can you tell us at what age you were thinking about the Army and when did you start thinking about the Air Force?
In Israel, it's a mandatory service. So as a child, I was thinking about it. All of my parents, my brother were on the Army, so it was pretty clear I'm gonna go in the same row. And the role was specifically very interesting for me. I learned physics in high school, and it kind of get in touch with that role. So it was very special and interesting.
What a pleasure I have now speaking with Tova Abev, another member of the IDF. By the way, what is your rank?
I'm a lieutenant.
A lieutenant. In which unit?
Right now I'm the aide of the head of the planning directorate. We're in charge about the building the IDF through the years. 10 years.
Is it exciting, Tova?
I love the Army. I love what I do in the Army. Yeah, it sounds boring, but actually we're doing a very important job.
So where did you grow up?
My parents came from Ethiopia in '84.
Where were you born?
I was born in Israel.
You are a Sabra.
Yeah, I am. I live in Afula, which is a small city in the north.
I love Afula.
I love Afula. Truly love Afula.
By the way, since your parents come from Ethiopia, and you're part of the Ethiopian Jewish community, and you're part of Afula, which has a thriving Ethiopian Jewish community, tell us in general, do you feel the state of Israel has gotten to the point where it has truly embraced the Ethiopian Jewish community? Do you still feel you or your friends have to deal with some degree of, I don't know, discomfort in the Israeli system?
First of all, I think that it's something that you choose how to look at it. Like if you choose to see the difference, you probably will see. But I think that the IDF inside of the Israeli society is giving you like a sense of equality and like connection to the history that you have as a Jewish nation, not only as an Ethiopian. So I don't feel the difference if that's what you ask me.
That's wonderful. You finished high school and went into service, correct?
I did a service year. I finished high school. I did one service year of volunteering in a community, in a different community in the city, and then I joined the Army.
Why, after doing service outside of the IDF, did you decide that you wanted to go inside the IDF?
I think because the IDF is it's the heart of the Israeli society, first of all, and second of all, my parents dream to come to this land, so I have the privilege to wear this uniform to protect my country. So,
do you hate Palestinians?
No, not at all. I don't hate people because they are like this or like that.
But there have been Palestinians who've tried to blow your friends up, who've crossed the border and tried to do terrible damage.
They're terroristic, and you don't need to look of the whole Palestinians as a terrorist. There are some radical Palestinians that are looking to hurt Israel and to hurt Israelis. And no, I don't hate Palestinians. We also want peace. You know, we're tired of it.
By the way, just so you know, I ask this question to Israelis all the time. Do you hate Palestinians? Israeli after Israeli, they all often answer me as if they don't even understand where the question is coming from.
Yeah.
No, they don't hate. It's a very, but wait, for American Jews, it sometimes is surprising. But it's a wonderful quality, and I'm very proud of you. By the way, all of us are so proud of you and so grateful to you. We wish you kol tuva hatzlacha, only the best to you.
Amen.
And thank you for spending a moment with us on Shalom TV. Thank you so much.
I'm here with retired U.S. Naval Captain Yuri Tabak. So what does that mean that you feel strongly about the IDF?
Well, most of the presidents in the Western world are speaking of the war on terror. And if we do have a war on terror, then the front line, in my belief, is Israel. And all Israelis are soldiers at the front line. And all of us in the civilized world need to support them, because that's where terrorism takes birth, in general speaking.
When you talk about all of us in the civilized world supporting Israel, what would you like to see us doing more of?
I would like Israel to continue to do what it is, practice democracy, stand by democracy, don't take criticism so close to their heart, continue to do what they're doing, protecting the free world. I was also born in Russia and immigrated to the United States in the early 70s. And since then I was also stationed in Eastern Europe quite a few times. And I can tell you that what is going on right now in Ukraine, in occupation of Crimea, I know one thing. I don't know what the outcome of it is going to be, but I can tell you, if it wouldn't be for IDF, it wouldn't be for Israel, every synagogue in that part of the world would be burning right now.
Wow, I think those are very powerful words for us. Tell me a little more what you mean exactly by that. I mean, that's a scary thought, what you're saying.
Well, because the world now, the civilized world, knows that there is Israel, that Jews are not alone, and if there would be an attempt to conduct pogroms, which are popular in Europe, particularly in Eastern Europe, to blame Jews for all the shortcomings in those places, for the tough living that they have there. They know that Israel would not stay quiet, and Israel will defend, and if need to, the Jews that are being prosecuted unfairly, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Europe, or in the United States, or anywhere else.
Captain Tabak, I think that's something that many of us think about. The importance of the State of Israel's existence for Jews internationally. And so if I understand you correctly, you're saying that right now today in Ukraine, you could imagine pogroms taking place if it were not for the State of Israel's existence.
Absolutely. I do not think that it is that is President Vladimir Putin that would defend the Jews out there, as he claims. I believe that it is the State of Israel, and particularly the IDF, that will defend and will not allow Jews to be prosecuted in that part of the world.
What a pleasure Ellie and I have right now. We're sitting with Arthur Stark, who for years and years and years has been involved in the FIDF, and now you're chairman again tonight, yes?
What can you do? You can't get away from a good thing.
For many years it was Benny, and now it's you.
There you go. What can you do?
Okay.
There's big shoes to fill, by the way.
By the way, you did a spectacular job last year.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it again. I want you to talk 1 minute, Art, for what FIDF means to you, and you have put so much of yourself into this organization. It's for a reason. Explain to our audience what it is that has drawn Arthur Stark to the FIDF.
Yeah, well, the IDF is the backbone of the Israeli society, and therefore the backbone of the Jewish people around the world. So there's no better cause, there's nothing more important than for us to invest in these young men and women who really defend us and who really represent our future.
The ethic of the IDF is a unique military ethic. And you've experienced it because you have become so close. Not only, you've been in Israel, we've seen you in Israel, we've seen you in boot camps, we've seen you on bases. Try to articulate, if you can, just what you think the essence of the ethic of the Israeli army is.
You know, the Israeli soldier puts himself at such great risk at the very possibility that there could be something less than nefarious that he's facing. So many times Israeli soldiers will be wounded, maimed, killed because they won't take a chance against a terrorist who may not be a terrorist. So they put themselves at such great risk, and that's the value that's placed on life in the IDF.
And now at the FIDF Gala, I have the great pleasure of standing with another dear friend, Jeff Weisenfeld. And wherever Jewish issues are at stake, Jeff is there. And, you know, I've asked you this question before, but it's important to give you a chance to say it. Why do you make a special point of being here at the FIDF Gala, the gala that celebrates the friends of the IDF?
You know how many times we meet and we like to joke about things. Unlike the Yiddish theater and other things that bring us happiness, this is a more serious thing. The Israel Defense Forces are the insurance policy of the Jewish people, and every Jew has an obligation to support them.
Here we are at the FIDF Gala. It celebrates the young men and women in the Israeli Defense Forces. What makes you proudest of the young people in the IDF and the IDF itself? What touches your soul?
The absolute dedication to a lengthy period of service. That's not an easy sacrifice. Miluim thereafter, and no complaints.
Reserve duty.
Reserve duty, and no complaints. No complaints. It's really the love of one's fellow Jew and patriotism towards the Jewish people in the state of Israel. And that's why everyone here, it's the least they can do is be here and underwrite benefits for our soldiers in Israel.
I remember when there was no Israel, and it changed my whole thinking, and it changed my life, really, you know. And as I say, most of my charity, many of my charities go to Israel, and I can rattle off 5 or 6 that we were involved in. It doesn't matter. And the Friends of the IDF, though, are a very top priority with me.
Mr. Eisenberg, you know, one of the things that I think we see in American philanthropy is that Jews are incredibly charitable, but unfortunately sometimes those charitable dollars don't go to Jewish causes. I know you yourself and your wife and your partners are an exception to that rule. So what are your thoughts about how do you pick your priorities of where your support should go?
Well, my priorities are I'm involved in a lot of non-Jewish causes as well. Obviously, when it comes to the hungry and the homeless and so forth, and medical, there's other things that I'm involved in. But I still say that if we don't support Jewish causes, nobody will. If I don't support the others, there are millions of other Americans who will.
At the FIDF dinner, at this wonderful gala, I have the great pleasure of standing with, well, look, a gentleman who has done so much for Jewish life throughout America, especially here in the New York area, Jerry Levan, who for years was the president of UJA Federation, correct?
I was chair, I was campaign chair, I was president. Yeah, it was last decade.
What are you doing now?
I'm trying to enjoy life a little bit.
And we won't let you, will we?
No.
Okay.
In fact, I've been complaining to Federation about that. I didn't know that there are duties in the bylaws for the past president. They told me about it afterwards. So I run over there for meetings.
You'll just have to deal with it, you know, Jerry? Look, I want to know why it's so important for you to be here celebrating these young men and women who are in the IDF. Why do you make sure, Jerry, you're at the FIDF Gala?
I idolize the IDF. Always have. I never go to Israel, particularly if it's a mission where we don't go on an Army Air Force base. Always. We care about them, and you know, it's a great thing to bring in some of our donors and we asked the base commander, is there anything you need? And they always have something, yes. And right there on the spot, write checks.
Yes. By the way, it's interesting. I've been involved with the FIDF for a long time. We made sure we gave a mobile gym to the IDF. There were some 3,500 scholarships this year given from the FIDF two young men and women who are in the IDF. I want you to talk one more moment about what you feel the ethic of these kids is and the ethic of the IDF is. What makes you so proud of the Israeli army and the young people in it?
Do you remember the roof knocking program of the IDF? When they went into Gaza, and they obviously had to knock out some places that had heavy arms, but they were forcing the citizens, Hamas, to go into those buildings so the IDF couldn't come. Well, they would drop leaflets and say, we're going to bomb this, and they would force all the residents to go up on the roof so they wouldn't get bombed. And what the IDF started doing, they called it roof knocking. They would drop a bomb on the other side of the roof, away from where all the people were. A small bomb, make a lot of noise. They'd run out. They would scare them out. They'd go in the streets. They'd count them, how many went out the door, and then they'd bomb the place and blow it up. And it was always a triple explosion because there's so many munitions stored in there. Who would think of even doing something like that but the Israelis? It was a beautiful, I mean, it's war. But you couldn't conduct it with a higher degree of ethics.
Hi, I'm here with Tamir Oppenheim, who is the Midwest Director for the Friends of IDF. Tamir, when you talk to people about supporting Israeli soldiers, what is it that you tell people that moves them to make that donation?
So I will tell them the story of the soldiers, what they are doing, what the challenges are, what's the history, what's the programs that we are supporting. There are so many programs, educational programs, needy soldiers programs, lone soldiers that are coming, thousands of lone soldiers. And I'm sitting with the people and I'm trying to figure out how they can connect to those soldiers, how they can hug and love those soldiers and give them more. And also it's a great bridge between the communities here in the US and the Israeli community and the young people in Israel.
At the FIDF dinner, I had the great pleasure of standing with Michael Miller, who is the head of the New York JCRC, the Jewish Community Relations Council, and so much good that is done in the New York area is done because of this man right here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wonderful to be here. Want to be here with you.
Thank you. We go way back, and I've admired you for so long. And
Since
the work
radio days.
That's you remember. Good for you. And we haven't aged a bit, have we?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Michael, why is today so important? Why is this event honoring the kids of the IDF, the IDF soldiers? Why is the FIDF Gala so important to you, and why do you feel it should be important to the American Jewish community?
It's important for me personally because my son served in the Israel Defense Forces. He was with a Givati unit, combat infantry, during the Second Intifada. He was stationed in the Gaza Strip, and I know that the friends of the IDF are not just friends of what they say in Hebrew is the tzameret, are the brass, the people at the top, the generals, the colonels. They're friends of each and every individual soldier. The Israel Defense Forces is the backbone of the state of Israel, ensures its security and ensures its future. The prophet Ezekiel said, Netzach Yisrael lo yishaker, that the destiny of the Jewish people will not be a falsehood. It is the Israel Defense Forces which ensures that our destiny as a Jewish people, our destiny as a state of Israel, will always be there and will never ever be a falsehood.
Your son actually served in Gaza?
Yes, my son served in Gaza during the Intifada.
Did he tell you stories at all about how he felt about the way the IDF handles itself? So often, Michael, we hear criticisms of the ethic of the Israeli army, and it seems like the world does not appreciate the extraordinary efforts that these young men and women go to protect civilian life, and in many ways to reflect the best of Jewish values. And, there are books written that say that the occupation is destroying the Israeli soul, that Israeli soldiers on the West Bank in Gaza are just desolate with the situation they're in. What did your son tell you, and what can you say about what you know the ethic of the Israeli army is?
Well, I would like to believe that we instilled within our son values and ethics that are lofty. that speak to the universalism of our faith. None of those values, none of those ethics were ever violated when he was in the Israel Defense Forces, just the opposite. His ethics and his values were reinforced by the rules, regulations, principles, the fundamental ideals of the Israel Defense Forces. Whatever those who accuse the IDF of being immoral, of being unethical, don't know what they are talking about. Speak to an Israeli soldier, speak to my son, and he will tell you what the Israeli Defense Forces does to avoid civilian casualties on the other side among their enemy. It's just extraordinary. I don't know if there's any military in the history of humankind that has taken the measures, even the American forces, that have taken the measures that Israel has taken in order to avoid civilian casualties, even among an enemy population.
It's a very important message you're hearing Michael given. You always give us such insight, and it's a pleasure to always have you on Shalom, to be called Tova Hatzlacha to all your work you do.
And it's a pleasure to be here, and Shalom to all.
Thank you. And there you have it, some of the words of those who are here. Very moving, don't you think?
Absolutely. Touching, actually.
And now we want to show you the actual program tonight from the Waldorf, the 2014 FIDF Gala. We hope you enjoy it.
Enjoy.
I'm Mark Golub.
And I'm Eli Kohanim.
Be well, my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the finest military orchestras in the world, the Orchestra of the Israel Defense Forces.
There are many who, when they hear the words Friends of the IDF, they think military, they think guns, things that this organization is not about at all.
You know, you think of soldiers in uniforms, you know, that's how you know that's a soldier. We're dealing with the person in the uniform.
I decided to join the Army because it's important to do what you believe in and to act rather than just talk. I live here without my family. My family's back in America. Sometimes that makes my service a little bit more difficult. You're not alone, and there's so many people who don't know you. They care so much about you, and that's really touching.
The concept and the idea behind the Friends of the IDF is a great expression for Shevet Achim Dam Yachad, for a Jewish solidarity. The soldiers works very, very hard. To give them 1 week of break is a great opportunity to charge their energy. I served something bigger than only the Israel state. I served the Jewish nation.
The IDF is the only army in the world that has an education corps. And there's a special program that FIDF supports that helps kids on the margins re-enter society.
My family came from Ethiopia in 91 in summer operation. I have 5 brothers, I'm the youngest, and I'm proud to be a soldier in the IDF. Cours Samir prepared me for the army. It opened for me many doors for important jobs that I wouldn't have without it. Because of that, I decided to sign another year in the IDF.
The values we talk about are friendship, loving your land, loving your country, Zionism.
What does this land mean to me? Does it mean to me anything? Am I fighting for the land? Or maybe for my family? Maybe for other Jews all around the world?
I was born in Moscow, Russia. I was a lone soldier in a Nachal Brigade. My commander told me about FIDF Impact Scholarship Program, which is going to really give me this opportunity to study in one of the best schools in Israel. I'm really proud to be the part of the 7,500 recipients and graduates. They represent the future success of our country.
We, the soldiers, look after Israel, and the FIDF look after us.
We believe and we do.
This evening, for the 9th consecutive year, we are honored to have as our MC a nationally syndicated radio host, a political and foreign affairs analyst for Fox News, and a New York Times best-selling author. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Monica Crowley.
Thank you so much. 9 consecutive years, and every year it's a tremendous labor of love for me to be here. Thank you so much for always welcoming me so warmly and with such a tremendous embrace. Thank you so much. Shalom. And as I just said, I'm always so honored to be able to host this remarkable, one-of-a-kind evening. Earlier tonight, I was especially flattered when someone came up to me and told me that I was Israel's second favorite American blonde, only after Scarlett Johansson. So, I'm in pretty good company. Let's get this party started tonight, shall we? With us tonight, representing the Armed Forces of the United States of America, we are honored to have the New York City Recruiting Battalion Color Guard. We also have with us tonight, presenting the flag of the State of Israel, Captain Veronica Jerome, Captain Gal Baruch, Captain Eraz Shabtai, and Lieutenant Inav Zagagi. And speaking of flags, the United States Air Force recently sent a 170-person team to participate in Blue Flag, the largest multinational aerial warfare training exercise ever hosted by the Israeli Air Force. More than 100 aircraft and 1,000 air and ground crews from the United States, Italy, and Greece joined the Israeli Air Force in that military exercise that simulated the invasion of friendly airspace by enemy warplanes.
It's a very good opportunity for us to continue to work on efficiencies, to become more logistically sound, to get all of our forces from point A to point B, and then how to actually operate together to continue to provide stability within the region. We really appreciate the opportunity.
How proud we are to all be associated with these soldiers and with democracies that are united in a common desire to protect democracy and freedom. Tonight, the Star-Spangled Banner will be sung by Master Sergeant Mary Kay Messinger, followed by Hatikva, to be sung by Sergeant Yael Hyun.
Can you see, I the dancer in light, what song godly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the
it's my privilege to invite up to the stage our dinner chairman, Arthur Stark. Before taking on the mantle of dinner chairman last year, Arthur was the steady hand at the helm of the Friends of the IDF, serving for many years as national chairman of the board. During his tenure, the Friends of the IDF grew to become one of the premier strategic organizations supporting the State of Israel. On a personal level, Arthur and his lovely wife, Sylvia, have given generously of their time and their resources. Even more meaningfully, they also lent the IDF their son, Adam, who recently completed his distinguished service in an elite Special Forces combat unit in the paratroopers. But they're not done yet, because next up, their son Jordan, who turns 18 in May, plans to enlist in the IDF this summer. So I guess you could say that Arthur and his family have taken the cause of the IDF soldier to head, heart, and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the best friend an IDF soldier could ever have, our distinguished dinner chairman tonight, Mr. Arthur Stark.
So Ellen DeGeneres could not be here tonight. She's out delivering pizza. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the FIDF National Gala. It's a thrill to once again see all of you here tonight, a packed house. And we're here for one reason and one reason only, to support the heroic soldiers of the IDF. As most of you know, the Super Bowl this year was won by a team that is famous for its great defense. But what you may not remember is the unique advantage that helped propel the Seattle Seahawks into the Super Bowl. In football, it's known as the 12th man. Supporting the 11 players on the field is the collective 12th man in the stadium, the fans who show their support in a feverish way. The fans were literally so loud that opposing teams could not hear their own signals. And as a result, Seattle was almost invincible at home. Well, my friends, for the world's greatest defense, the IDF, you are the 12th man or woman. You have the ability to give the IDF an incalculable advantage. Your presence lets our kids in uniform know that we love them and that we appreciate them. And tonight, we're here to make some noise for the brave young men and women of the IDF. Very good. However, for the IDF, this is not a game. It's a matter of life and death. The State of Israel must fight every day, every hour, for its very survival. Israel's enemies can afford to lose over and over. But the IDF cannot afford to lose, not even once. Tonight, we are honored to hear from a man who has dedicated his life to assuring that Israel will not lose. Upon returning from Jerusalem from his visit to Washington and Los Angeles last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made the time in his demanding schedule to prepare a special message for this evening's dinner.
Greetings from Jerusalem, the eternal capital of the Jewish people. I want to congratulate all of you for everything that you are doing on behalf of the IDF. Israel's army is the great complement to our sovereignty, and it's the great change in our history. It enables us, the Jewish people, to defend our lives with our own forces, with our own capabilities. You know that there are those who seek to extinguish our lives. They're still around us. Anti-Semitism changes its garment, but it remains the same. And yet we've succeeded in pushing back all these attempts to destroy us because we've had the willingness, the resilience, the resolve to fight back. I want to thank all of you for helping the IDF fight back, because ultimately this is what guarantees the Jewish future. Thank you for helping secure the Jewish future.
On behalf of all of us, I would like to thank the Prime Minister for taking the time to share his insights with us. Now I'd like to take a moment to update you on one very special IDF soldier whom we met here a year ago. His name is Ziv Shalom. Ziv Shalom and his unit were patrolling the Gaza border when a terrorist bomb planted at a security gate exploded. The blast severed Ziv's left hand and mangled his right. Despite the trauma, Ziv's first thought was for his men's safety. He ordered them to stay put as he quickly searched for his severed hand and then made a run back to his Jeep. It's an unbelievable presence of mind. Following 6 months of intensive medical care, therapy, and rehab, this determined young officer returned to his IDF unit and the soldiers under his command, and we were honored to have him with us. Well, last week, Ziv began a new chapter in his remarkable young life.
Today, there is someone special that traveled with me from Israel to here. I wanted to ask her just one question. Adi, you are my hope, you are my rock, you are everything I am. And I wanted to ask you to marry me.
What a wonderful moment. Mazal Tov to Ziv and his beautiful new fiancée, Adi. Mazal Tov to them and happiness to them and their families. Each year, the FIDF leads an emotional mission to Poland and to Israel called From Holocaust to Independence. Last year, at the gates of the Auschwitz death camp, the following words were spoken. Never again will the Jewish people endure a Holocaust. Never again will we, the Jewish people, be unprepared to defend ourselves. The man who spoke these words is not only the son of a Holocaust survivor. He is not only the father of an IDF paratrooper. He is the one man who is most capable of ensuring that the words never again remain true. As the leader of the men and women who protect the Jewish homeland, he has demonstrated masterful leadership, skillfully guiding the IDF through complex threats facing Israel's security. But more so, in the many years that I have been privileged to know him, what has always struck me is the personal interest that he takes in each individual soldier. This has been evident in his tireless support of the FIDF's efforts, whether as a young commander or as Israel's defense attaché to the US and Canada in Washington, and as chief of staff when we've seen him via satellite, standing in the rain in the middle of the night to brief us from the front lines. Tonight, we're so thrilled that he is here with us in person. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a distinct honor to introduce to you my dear friend, the 20th Chief of the General Staff of the Israel Defense Forces, the Ramatkal, Lieutenant General Benny Gantz.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Arthur. It was a pleasure to hear you speaking about this young captain that we saw there. Actually, it was a second lieutenant at the time. And thank you for this very warm introduction that follow your years of support of the FIDF. Thank you very much, Arthur. I really appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, Chairman of the FIDF, Nily Falic. Nily, I would like to deeply and honestly thank you and thank your family, not only for your committed work, but also for setting an example for each and every one of us. Not only that you are supporting us, but you and your family also show a great deal of dedication and active partnership by your grandsons joining combat units in the IDF. נאה דורש, נאה מקיים. כל הכבוד. General Jerry Gerson, Lieutenant General retired Gabi Ashkenazi, Major General retired Yoav Gallant, the Israeli Defense Attaché Yaakov Aish, the head of Telecom and IT Communications, Major General Uzi Moskovich and his wife, dear guests, commanders, and soldiers of the IDF, dear friends of the IDF. Both my wife and I are very happy to finally be here with you in this beautiful and traditional event of support to the IDF and the States of Israel. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you, Jerry, for your years of dedicated and blessed work. I can definitely conclude that your years as the FIDF CEO were the proper continuation to a good long service in the IDF. Thank you, Jerry. There is a saying in Hebrew, my friend, כי הוא אשר נתת הוא שלך לעד. For all that you have given, it shall be forever yours. Giving creates meaning. It creates commitment and kindness. Giving is the key to the well-being of the giver, the receiver, and the society as a whole. Giving something creates careness, and careness is actually the base for cohesion, coherence, for unity. It is right for a military unit, it is right for a state, and it is definitely right for a nation. I'm grateful to be here around dear members of the FIDF who actually see giving as central value in their life. You, my friend, chose to tie your life with ours. You chose to give. You chose to constantly stand by our side, to be with us in times of pride and joy, to support us in the hardest and most rigorous challenges. Your deep commitment to the Israeli people, military force, and country makes you an inseparable part of Israel's society. In your devotion and commitment to the well-being of our soldiers, you strengthen Israel and you strengthen its forces. You strengthen the nation as a whole. The officers and the soldiers of the IDF serve their homeland. They give, fight, and sacrifice on a daily basis for the protection of Israel's citizens, for the safety of Jewish people, both in Israel and in the diaspora, knowing that we have no other military and no other country, knowing that the IDF is the main guarantee to the timeless expression of Am Yisrael Chai. Through their selflessness, unceasing contribution, these soldiers became part of a long chain of generations, creating the powerful bond between the country and its protectors. A bond of mutual commitment, a bond that makes us the strong nation we are. The struggle for Israel's security demands total devotion. There are thousands of brave families in Israel who lost their loved ones and gave everything they could possibly give. However, with the pain of those losses, there is hope in the new generation. The children and the relatives of the fallen who have chosen to follow the footsteps and continue protecting the people of Israel. Like many of our country's youth, they too chose to tie their fate and future with the State of Israel, their homeland for generations to come. And with that, it became theirs forever. Ladies and gentlemen, in our ever-changing and dynamic geopolitical arena and reality, there are two factors which provide us with stability. Just like a solid rock in a stormy river. The State of Israel is the first one. And the deep and internal commitment between Israel and the United States, our ally, our greatest friend, is the one to follow. This commitment, based on shared values, almost identical interests, and similar political structure, creating a commitment in the struggle for peace and security. This commitment is reflected by personal relationship and operational and professional cooperation as well between our militaries and between our countries. Just recently, as I often do, I met my good friend, General Martin Dempsey, the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff. Every meeting of this sort emphasized the depth of our bond, of our friendship, and our strong commitment to each other. You, the FIDF members, play an integral and important role in strengthening those bonds between our countries. The FIDF organization is one of the bridges connecting these two rocks, and together we shall face and overcome the storms and threats that exist in our region while shaping the future. When I was appointed as the IDF General Chief of Staff 3 years ago, Mubarak was the president of Egypt, and his administration was firm, stable. Today, even his successor is no longer relevant. The threat we face keeps changing and evolving. The Sinai Peninsula became breeding ground for terrorism, which finds itself challenged on a daily basis. However, we still see terror attacks by the borders, such as the targeting of the Korean bus, and missiles are still being launched towards the city of Eilat once in a while. The Gaza Strip, which used to rely on the supply of ammunition and goods smuggled through the Rafah tunnels, must now find different ways to further their agenda. Yet we keep discovering more and more terror tunnels and targeting of cities in the area of surrounding Gaza Strip, just as we experienced actually a few hours ago. This unstable reality that exists in all of our borders is one that the IDF wakes up to every morning. We cannot predict how an average day will pan out. exposing a terror tunnel near a residential neighborhood, an explosive device intended to harm soldiers in a routine patrol, or game-changing weapons transferred to unwanted hand and dangerous hand. All have dire consequences and can become a real operational headache in large-scale conflicts. So last week's events provide us just another example to the complex strategic reality in which we live and act. After a long and complicated intelligence campaign, in a daring and calculated operation, the IDF's combat naval soldiers prevented the transfer of advanced weaponry from Iran to Gaza Strip. In the middle of the night, halfway across the world, we exposed the fangs beyond the Iranian smiles. We are aware of the changes in our enemy's behavior, both near and far, in the last few years. Despite their appearance, our enemies tried to present to the world, underneath the surface, there is a bustling industry of terror spreading to various organizations and states. Our enemies are weaving a web of deceit that allows them to make unprecedentedly complex strides, a web which they go to great lengths to conceal, but we go to greater lengths to uncover. We see them, we hear them, we recognize them, and most importantly, we act with boldness, innovation, and courage to stop them anywhere, anyway, and anytime. This reality I just described requires us to remain at a constant state of vigilance and at every place, ready for every possibility at any time. The IDF is a flexible and creative military force which adapts and strengthens its ability to respond to the threats. We, as always, continue to preserve and strengthen our operational preparedness and our moral values, especially the behavior of our soldiers and officers. More than ever, the IDF soldiers are prepared to face any scenario, to complete every mission, all while acting in accordance to non-negotiable ethics and moral values that originates from democratic values, the rule of law, the Jewish moral and heritage, and the spirit of the IDF. So, my friend, let me thank you for this opportunity to stand here and thank you on behalf of each and every one of the IDF soldiers and commanders who stand tall and fulfill their duty within our borders and beyond them. Their gratitude, Toda, is echoing in this room, crossing the Atlantic Ocean and the differences in time zones. We could only bring a few representatives with us, soldiers with exceptional stories and an influenced contribution to the IDF who represent the full spectrum of our military forces. The commanders who are with me tonight are both the present and the future of the IDF. They would like to express their gratitude on behalf of their forces and units and that they are representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the commanders who came with us. The ground forces are represented by Gilad, Moti, Erez, Yoav, Nadav, Shmuel, Karmit, Maya, and Daniel, and Ofar. Thank you. There is more to come. Maya, Shlomit, Itzik, Roy, Matan, Inav, and Amit represent our Air Force, please. Gal, Ofek, Omri, and Guy, who represents our naval forces, came straight here from They came here straight from Operation Full Disclosure after being days in the seas and fulfilling their mission. Thank you, guys. And last but not least, Michael, Linor, Veronica, Ronnie, Tova represents force supporting in the units ground, sea, and sky. We couldn't do anything without you as well. Thank you very much. Again, thank you all for your continuous support for the IDF and for your support tonight and I guess in the future. You are partners. Together, there's no challenge we cannot face. Ladies and gentlemen, my speech was longer than usual. Believe me, it was long. I believe I spoke about important issues. But if you were to remember only two things, remember those. I simply came to say thank you, and I simply ask you to stay our partners. Thank you, my friends. Thank you very much.
General Gantz, thank you so much. Phenomenal speech. Thank you very much. And we wish you continued success in all that you do, sir. Thank you. God bless you. Well, last month, sources reported that Hezbollah, a key player, of course, in the Iranian-led Shiite alliance, has now in its possession more than 170,000 rockets and missiles. And that's not taking into account the wide variety of weapon systems in Syria's hands, including sophisticated Russian, Iranian, and Chinese weapons that Syria may or may not have yet transferred to Hezbollah. Weapons such as the deadly Russian-made Yakant, which is a shore-to-sea missile, and the SAM-300, which is a ground-to-air missile. These weapon systems and missiles pose a serious threat to commercial and military traffic on the sea and in the air. Keeping these deadly, potentially game-changing missiles from getting into the wrong hands involves sophisticated cooperation, coordination, integration, and yes, an elite Air Force. For more on that part of the story, we want to take you now live via satellite to Hatzor Air Force Base near Gadara, where we are honored to be joined by the commander of the Israeli Air Force, General Amir Eshel. Well, good morning to you, sir, and thank you for joining us at such an early hour in Israel.
Good morning or good night, Monica, and shalom, dear friends from the IDF, of the IDF. I'm not the only one that is up here. We have right now the whole Air Force is dealing in activities related to operational activities around our borders. There are guys in the ground control unit who are watching the screens for incoming threats. The warriors of Iron Dome are watching the screens for incoming rockets, and the pilots in their flight suits and the ground crew in the squadrons are waiting for scramble. All of them are ready. All of them know that there is no margin for error.
General, everyone appreciates that one of the keys to Israel's safety and survival is air superiority, and that's why we're so blessed to be talking to you in the Air Force today and tonight. Given the changes in the region that the Chief of Staff just outlined here for us, how does the Air Force maintain that advantage?
Monica, if I'll tell you, I'll have to kill you. Just kidding.
Can't have
The Air Force is busy on daily basis enhancing our capabilities related to offense and defense. We train, we build new capabilities, we conquer new frontiers and horizons, and we push the boundaries of the imagination related to operational activities and capabilities of air power on a daily basis. I think that we've got tonight a rare opportunity to watch some of that. We are right now here in the control room of our mission tactical simulator in Chatzor Air Force Base. I would like to take you all to a flight in an F-16, so please fasten your seatbelt. And we are going to take a ride to the real thing. And this tactical simulator is a cross of, I would say, Air Force vision and innovation of the Israeli defense industries that met together and built the state-of-the-art, the best tactical simulator all over the globe. So we'll have the opportunity to watch the real thing, and the only ones that are real here are the pilots that you will be able to see in a minute. The rest is virtual, but it's the closest scenarios to real thing that we can ever train them.
Well, sir, I know that everybody in this room here tonight is dying to see it in action.
Ready for departure. Scorpion is airborne, switching channel 12.
Copy that, 12 green.
General, it sounds like they're speaking in English. Is that right? And are they doing it for the benefit of everybody here tonight?
Well, we prefer to speak Hebrew while we are fighting, but we trained ourselves also to speak English when we cooperate with our colleagues from the US and other countries.
Well, I certainly appreciate the English tonight. Thank you, sir. Can you tell us what happens next?
Well, they just took off to the mission, and right now they're going to face an operational scenario that we picked for them. And as during wartime, we prepared for them a I would say, surprises that we expect that the enemy might do. And they will have to deal with all of that to fulfill the mission and to return safely back home.
Scorpion, notching south for pop-up.
Point.
Scorpion pop-up program. Okay. Missiles in the air. Number one, trending left. Trending east, marching left. March left, number 3. One is going in for the attack. Emergency stall elephant.
Point.
Premium missile, Scorpion 2. Number 1 is marched from the south, notching north.
Hostile, 1605, 7,000 hot hostile. Scorpion 1, be advised, coming from south, 5.
Point.
South 2. One 205 hot hostile 7,000.
Scorpion 3, tally. Scorpion 1 is marched from the south, maintaining low altitude. Scorpion 3 engaging.
Copy that. One, be advised, single ship east, boogie 5, heading north.
East 5 heading north, copy that.
Be advised, mud too hot.
I see that. Number 1 is heading north. Boogie up for number 1 to target. Number 1 target.
Red Bra, 1805, 10,000 hot hostile. Single ship heading east. Cut off 1805.
Altitude.
Egress south, knock it off.
Number 1, maintaining low altitude south. Number 3, status. Number 3, 1 kill. 1 kill, we're going south. Number 3, copy. From the north.
Wow, that was so cool. General, I hope you can hear the applause from the audience because that was stunning. That was truly remarkable footage. Even just watching it now from the safety of the ground in New York City, my adrenaline is going because it's all happening so fast. Can you tell us what we just saw there, what was going on?
We saw this formation ingressing the enemy territory in low level. Their mission was to attack a surface-to-surface missile launcher that was detected. But while doing that, they were attacked by air defenses, enemy air defense. You've seen those white stripes that were from the ground to the sky that they had to avoid. And also they were attacked by enemy aircraft that they had to make a dogfight with them. So you've seen some of the kills. And this was part of the surprises that they had to deal with. And in the end, you could see this egress way back home on low level. Another time, again, trying to avoid those air defenses and getting back safely to Israel.
So this technology, General, can this technology take you anywhere?
This is the technology that is, we use it as a base for the training of the pilots in real scenarios. We believe that the training is the core capability of our Air Force to be combat ready for wartime and even during peacetime. So that technology, which is state of the art, what you have seen, you won't see anywhere on the globe. And this is a step that we took in order to enhance our capabilities. And we have watched the fruits of that in the last activities that we made all over the Middle East.
So I'm assuming it can take you anywhere from, say, Gaza to maybe Tehran?
We are talking about all type of missions.
Maybe I shouldn't
Yes.
ask about Tehran.
From Gaza and beyond Tehran.
All right, I'll leave Tehran alone right now, but General, I would love to check in with some of your pilots. Could I do that, please?
Wow, sure. Enjoy it.
By the way, on a personal note, this is my favorite part of the program because they always give me the cutest soldiers to talk to. My first one is Yohai. Hi, Yohai.
Hi, Monica. How are you?
Ladies, do you see what I mean? Yohai, welcome. We're glad to talk to you today. And to paraphrase a famous Jewish question, why is this simulator that you're demonstrating for us today different from all others?
Well, until now, simulators had one cockpit and were used mainly for training the crew in emergency procedures, very much like in commercial flying. For example, if you had an engine flame out. This simulator, as Macha mentioned, focuses on the combat training site, something that is pretty new for simulators. To achieve this multi-dome simulator was built that has this amazing 360-degree vision, as you can see here on my left, my wingman. And it's connected to an extensive database of both threats and landscape that allows us to actually simulate a real mission as it would be in real life.
Can you tell us, Yohai, how this new simulator that you've just described, how has it changed the way you and your fellow pilots train?
Until now, all the combat training had to be done in the air. This simulator actually allows us to train differently than what we do in the air, because in the air we are limited in the training safety buffers that we have to impose, the resources and the airspace of Israel. Now this simulator allows us for the first time to train exactly as we would in real life, over the real arena, opposed with the real threats that we will meet in real life.
How does that make you a better pilot?
Because each plane in the formation flies his own mission, we actually get to simulate more scenarios and more dilemmas and decision-making. These experiences and the lessons we take from them hone our reactions, enhance our decision-making, and build our confidence, all which together are very important because in life you don't get a second chance.
Yochai, I want to thank you so much. Are there any, may I ask, are there any other scorpions around that I could talk to tonight?
Yes, I actually have my wingman here on my left. Scorpion number 3, his name is Dov.
Hi, Dov.
Hi, Monica.
Hi.
Let's first say goodbye to Yochai here on my right.
Yochai. Thank you very much. Goodbye, Yochai. You're getting a big cheer here in New York. Dov. Hello, Dov. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure's all mine.
Well, Dov, as we watched all of those missiles flying, I have to think that it's got to be somewhat frightening. And you got to forgive me for asking as an American civilian, but are combat pilots ever afraid?
Look, Monica, these missiles are pretty worrisome, and so that it's pretty frightening, and it would even be pretentious to assume that combat pilots are never scared. However, we train very extensively for the expected and, of course, also the unexpected. And so I guess, in a way, it becomes almost comfortable for us in these combat situations. Now, for me personally, fear hasn't been much of an issue up to 3 months ago. At that time, my first baby daughter, Anna, was born. And at that time, I started thinking, if God forbid something ever happens to me, what'll be with her? And, you know, in the end, it's just part of the job. And the way I deal with those thoughts is I just tell myself, instead of focusing on the fear, I focus on making sure that every single part of the mission is performed correctly. And that gives me a better chance of returning safely.
Dov, we just want to tell everybody there's heavy rain in Israel, which is why our satellite connection, at least visually, has been interrupted. But Dov, we can still hear you. And we just saw pictures of your beautiful new baby girl. She is gorgeous, so congratulations, sir. Tell us a little bit about, because you mentioned your family and we just saw your new daughter, how do you juggle work, family, and the Air Force?
It's funny for you to ask that because we have this joke in the Air Force. It goes, how do you know when you've hit just the correct balance between work, family, and the squadron? Well, that's when your boss, your wife, and your squadron commander all complain equally. And that's pretty much my situation, so I guess I'm okay.
Well, Dov, I'm sure that your boss, General Eshel, must be very pleased with your performance tonight and every day. Thank you so much, Dov. Dov, we can see you again. You just got a huge burst of applause from this New York audience.
Thank you.
Let's see if we can get General Eshel back. General, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah. I hear you, Monica.
Okay. Before we let you go, sir, can you tell us what does it mean to you and to your soldiers to know that they have the support of more than 1,000 friends of the IDF in this room tonight who appreciate them, support them, and love them?
Well, even though you've seen Yochai and Dov, they look like aliens, but they are real human beings, and they are part of our A-team. And I want to tell you a secret. You've seen their high spirits. They are skillful. We are so proud of them. But there is one secret that I want to add, to tell about it, is with the support of the friends of IDF in the U.S., we become stronger. We feel that we are not alone. You know, and here in this crazy neighborhood, to know that you are not alone, that there are friends in the other side of the ocean makes you stronger. All of us, the warriors and the commanders, feel the same. That with this support, we know our mission, our commitment is clear, and we are ready. So I would like to thank you. I would like to thank you for that support. And I want to add one thing. 10 years ago, when we made the fly over Auschwitz, when I led the 3 F-15s over the death camps, I broadcast in the radio a few statements. One of them was the promise from the pilots of the Israeli Air Force that we promise to be the shield to the Jewish people and its state Israel. With your support, we intend to do so forever. So I'd like to thank you for your support on a daily basis. It's really encouraged us, and we are looking forward for the cooperation in the future, and the doors of the Israeli Air Force bases and the hearts of the people of the Air Force are widely open for you. Thank you.
General, thank you, sir. You and your Air Force are the greatest. So thank you so much for being here tonight. God bless you. Please pass along our thanks to Yochai and Dov for being such great sports with us tonight. Thank you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Well, there are currently more than 3,000 men and women from more than 60 countries volunteering in the Israeli army. These lone soldiers are part of what makes the IDF truly the army of the Jewish people. Tonight, we're especially pleased to have with us from the Armored Corps, by way of Ann Arbor, Michigan, Lieutenant Michael Sokoloff. Hi, Michael. Where are you?
Good evening, Monica.
Hi,
You know,
Michael.
all my friends call me Mikey, and I seem to have a lot of those here tonight. So,
Mikey. Well, you are certainly in a room of many, many friends, so we will refer to you as Mikey. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us, Mikey, what is it like to be a lone soldier?
It has its challenges, mainly based definitely in training. You're going through tough times. If it's through crawling something through 3 in the morning, or if it's getting your tank ready in the morning, for any sort of mechanical challenges, anything can really be difficult, especially when you come home during the week and you don't have your mom or your dad or your brother and sister who can sort of make you feel a little bit better. And also on the flip side, when you make it through commander school or officer school, you kind of look in the crowd, kind of looking for someone who can be there to support you, and sometimes you kind of feel that a little bit lacking. Basically for one another as lone soldiers, we kind of try and group together and help one another band and feel less alone. But this room is a great proof that we're not necessarily that alone. We just don't necessarily feel it all the time.
When you think back on your service, Mikey, when you think back on your service, are there some moments that are particularly special to you or that jump out at you?
Yeah, I met my girlfriend, who's also a lone soldier, as a combat infantry instructor, so that's a pretty good start.
Well, it sounds like, thanks to your girlfriend, Sam, you are 2 less lonely lone soldiers.
Definitely,
Am I right?
definitely.
Mikey, thank you. Thank you so much for your service. Well, Mikey is one of many lone soldiers, former and current, who are here with us tonight, and we appreciate them so deeply. God bless you all. We especially want to acknowledge one remarkable family. Next year, when their youngest, Carolyn, joins the IDF, all 4 Cohen children will have served. Jonathan in the Nachtal Brigade, Benjamin in the paratroopers, and Natalie in the Havat HaShomer. They are now back in the United States and in school where, like all lone soldiers, they serve as ambassadors to their communities. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Cohen family. We're used to hearing about Israeli Air Force pilots flying combat missions, but there's another type of mission they fly, and that is a humanitarian mission. We've shown you Haiti, and more recently, they've also been to the Philippines doing extraordinary humanitarian work. But in the past year, they've been in the most unlikely spot, the Golan Heights, where Israel's neighbor Syria is embroiled in a bloody civil war. Sadly, medical care today in Syria is barely existing. It's pretty much non-existent. There are fewer than 30 doctors and few supplies. One young man who is here with us tonight is a soldier who has seen this tragedy firsthand. Sergeant Daniel Rosner, a paramedic in the Paratrooper Special Forces. Sergeant Daniel, welcome. It's lovely to have you with us here tonight as well.
Thank you very much.
Can you talk a little bit about your experiences, what you do, and how unusual the situations that you find yourself in really are?
Well, lots of people ask me that question. After all, our countries have been enemies for decades. But for me and for my colleagues in the medical corps, we don't see Syrians, Lebanese, or Jews. We only see people, patients that are in need of help.
Can you tell us about what exactly you do? How does it all work?
Well, we're always on call. And when we get a call that there are Syrian casualties at the border, we go there and we treat them. How they get there, we don't know. It's really on a need-to-know basis, and we really don't need to know. Our job is to treat the casualties, and it's just been a great privilege to do that. It's a real mitzvah.
Can you share with us maybe one of the most memorable encounters that you've had on the Syrian border?
Of course. Well, every night we could see and hear the war next door, and it's a totally surreal scenario. Once we had a call for a baby that had a head injury and was waiting at the border with her mother. When we got there, the baby was crying. Now, in a medical perspective, that's a good thing. That means the baby's well enough to be crying. And after treating her and putting her and her mother on an ambulance to go to the hospital in Israel, the mother was actually very confused and frightened. But when we took them back to the border after they got the treatment in Israel, that same mother was actually singing an Arab song that she dedicated to me and called me her daughter's angel. It was amazing, amazing feeling.
That is the IDF. That's what you're supporting here tonight. God bless you, Daniel. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here and for all you do. God bless you. This, like I said, is the IDF, and we must never lose sight of that. These kinds of stories don't necessarily get told because not just in the United States, but around the world, we're dealing with very corrupt media, and it's up to us to make sure that these stories punch through and that the world knows the truth about the greatness and the goodness of the Israeli Defense Forces. I want to turn it over now to our dinner chairman, Arthur Stark.
Thank you, Monica. You know, we talk about the greatest friend that Israel soldiers could have, but no better friend than Monica Crowley. For 9 years, Monica has emceed this and really has done such a phenomenal job, really phenomenal. Thank you. The loss of a soldier's life in times of war has struck the families of the IDF all too often. Yet we know that it is impossible to escape from the battlefield unscathed. One of my most poignant personal experiences with the IDF occurred along the Gaza border in late December of 2008 on the eve of Operation Cast Lead. I was there addressing a battalion of paratroopers, a sea of young faces, unshaven, camped there for days, awaiting orders that would determine their fate. I was struck by the harsh realization that some of these boys would not return unharmed, or, God forbid, not return at all. And there were casualties, fewer than one might have feared, but precious lives were inevitably lost. To this very day, I remain haunted by that experience. As we heard from a variety of voices, the IDF must remain on guard 24/7, 365 days a year, even in this so-called time of peace. Such constant vigilance and preparedness exacts a high price. Many high-risk critical training missions cannot take place in the safety of a simulator. Some must be executed under real-life, maximum-risk conditions. Tragically, these risks sometimes bear the maximum cost. the life of a cherished son, a precious brother, an adoring father, a devoted husband, a beloved commander. Tonight, we are deeply honored to have with us the wife of one such fallen hero of Israel, Yael Schiffenbauer.
Good evening. My husband, Danny Schiffenbauer, was born in Montevideo, Uruguay. In the spring of 1973, at the age of 6, he made Aliyah along with his 2 younger sisters and his parents. It was just before Yom Kippur War. Israel had become a land of wailing sirens and crowded bomb shelters. That was when Danny first began to understand the importance of a strong state of Israel. We met in 1985, just a few months before he was recruited to the army. He was a brilliant 18-year-old boy who dreamt of becoming a pilot. I was an Ola Hadasha, a new immigrant, remarkably from the same time in Uruguay as he was. Our shared South American roots drew us to one another. Danny loved the flavors, the music, and especially the soccer, a passion that he passed on to our 3 sons. Danny entered the army, and in the blink of an eye, the boy became a man. Tzahal does that to you. When your school bag is replaced by an M16, the sense of responsibility for protecting your country is suddenly very real. The power to kill and the power to save lives is in your hands. It forces you to grow very quickly. Becoming an helicopter pilot was now the focal point of Danny's life. There was nothing that inspired him more than flying over the beautiful landscapes of our tiny country or seeing the relief on the faces of combat soldiers as his helicopter silently approached them on a dark night to bring them home after a dangerous mission from God knows where. Danny rose through the ranks to become a squadron commander. The little boy from Uruguay was now a leader, charged with training future generations of Israeli combat pilots. During the Second Lebanon War, Danny's squadron was involved in many missions behind enemy lines. Tragically, lives were lost, and the fact that he couldn't bring everyone home in one piece changed him. It left huge scars on his heart. But in the middle of the war, there is no time to mourn the loss of friends. The fight against Hezbollah was still going on. Danny commanded a heroic rescue under fire that qualified him and his crew for the highest award of the Air Force at Salash. But Danny refused to be nominated. As far as he was concerned, he was just doing his job. It is important for you to know that Danny was not only a military man. First and foremost, he was a family man, the strong tree that we all leaned on. He was my loving husband, my soulmate. He was a caring father who liked to refer to our 3 boys, Amit, Roy, and Yonatan, as number 1, number 2, and number 3, like the helicopters in his formation. He would call home and ask, is number 3 at home? Or how did number 1 do in his soccer game? His only purpose in life was to make us happy. And he never missed an opportunity to hug us, to encourage us, and to tell us how much he loved us. And for that, we are so grateful. For most of our married life, we lived in family housing inside Air Force bases. It was the only way that Danny could balance both family and duty. But his dream was for us to have a house of our own. And finally, we bought one in Kidron, a peaceful moshav near the Tel Nof Air Force Base. Danny's favorite part of the house was a porch with an old grapevine-covered arbor on the 2nd floor that had a beautiful view of the green valley below. Danny used to call it our own little Tuscany, and he dreamt of us sitting there, sipping tea and watching the sunset. We moved in on Thursday, and Danny left for Romania for a joint training exercise in the Carpathian Mountains on Sunday. He was torn about leaving us, but I told him that it was all right. I had become used to his leaving at all hours of the day or night, being gone for long periods of time, not knowing where he was. This is the life you live in the army. After Danny headed to Romania, I began happily unpacking. We now had plenty of room, and I love finding just the right place for every single thing. I couldn't wait to see Danny's face when he returned home to find his books, his clothes, and even his army gear all neatly put away. I was interrupted by a knock at the door. It was one of our friends. Eze Hamoud, what a sweetheart, I thought. He's checking to see if I need help. Then I saw his face. His usual wide smile was missing, and I knew at once that what he'd come to tell me would change my life forever. Danny's helicopter had encountered severe weather and crashed into a mountain. All 7 aboard were killed. Danny's death has left a huge hole in our souls, but we carry on. We have no other way. In May of 2012, the Air Force awarded Danny the Tzalash. Our boys accepted the medal on his behalf. With us here tonight is a group of FIDF soldiers and officers. Among them is our Amit. Like his father before him, Amit is a combat soldier. Like his father, Amit has decided to become a combat officer. As a mother, my heart trembles. Then I think of Danny at Amit's bar mitzvah. As he rose to speak, this big, tough commander could barely get the words out through his tears. One, he said, it's not just a number, it's an obligation. Number 1 leads the formation. He set the pace. He is in charge. Amit and all these talented young men and women with us tonight have chosen to be number 1s. This may sound like a small thing, but it isn't. We live today in a world that glorifies individualism and emphasizes comfort and personal success. But these men and women have chosen to put the security of our country, of all of us, before themselves. For this, we should all salute them. You cannot imagine how much I miss my Danny. I still find it hard to comprehend that this warm, larger-than-life being is mamash gone, that it was me who rose to speak at Roy's bar mitzvah and not him, and that Danny won't be there, smiling through his tears at Yonatan's bar mitzvah next year at this time. But in many ways, Danny is still with me. He is in the morning sunlight that filters through my window, giving me the strength to get out of bed. And he's in the fragrance of the grapevines on his beloved porch. He's in the smiles of our 3 boys and in their determination to carry on his legacy of service to our country and our people. And I believe in my heart that Danny is also in you, as he is in all those who hear his story and are touched by who he was. But most of all, Danny is in the soldiers who embody his values and stand ready to defend the state of Israel. Thank you for caring for them and for supporting them as Danny did. For without them, the Israel that Danny loved so much and for whose existence he gave his life would not survive. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please remain standing for a moment of silence as we remember Danny Schiffenbauer, Zichrono Livracha, his crewmates, as well as all the young men and women who have given their lives this past year to defend the State of Israel and the Jewish people.
הוא ילד עבר זמן, נסעת לחפש רחוק מכאן, ואני מחכה לך. הוא ילד שלי בעולם, ציפור אדם כמו כולם, מחפש את האופן. כל מטוס שטס בשמיים, כל כוכב מאיר בעיניים, מזכיר לי אותך. נוח לי אלי לפני הגשם, צרצרים בשעות הערב, תמיד יחכו לך. תמיד יחכו לך.
I just want to reiterate our thanks for this phenomenal evening and your incredible generosity. It's been so amazing tonight, as always. We look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you. God bless you.
אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יגיע, אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יבוא, אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יופיע, אני רוצה להיות ברבור. אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יגיע, אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יבוא, אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יופיע, אני רוצה להיות ברבור. כשאביב נרדם יאור בחיוורון, בשדות האש איתם הקרב האחרון, ובוקר נהדר מן הבקעה להר, עד יעלה בזמר ברב. השמש ידור בין עזה לרפיח, ירח ילבין על פסגת החרמון, פרחים בקנה ובנות בצריח, ישובו לעיר חיילים בהמון. חיילים לעיר יגיעו בעם רב, עם נערות בשיר וחיוכי זהב. כל השאתמול ידע מחום שכול, עוד לא ידע שלכת בקרב. השמש ידור בין עזה לרפיח, ירח ילבין על פסגת החרמון, פרחים בקנה ובנות בצריח, ישובו לעיר חיילים בהמון. שיפתח עליי, שיפתח את העולם כולו אשכח, אני לבד והמצנח. שיפתח, שיפתח, שיפתח עליי עכשיו. ראית אותו במטוס הממריא, תחתיו נפרסים פרדסים וכפרים, הוא חש את מסע המצנח על גבו, אוחז ברצועות וחושב בליבו, הנה עוד דקה והרוח תחבוט על פניו, הנה עוד דקה ייפתח המצנח מעליי.
We would be pleased to send a complimentary DVD of this program to anyone who wishes to support Shalom TV with a tax-deductible gift of $36, double high or more, to the nonprofit organization Jewish Education in Media. Simply visit the Shalom TV website homepage and click on the Donate button to make a donation by PayPal or your credit card. And please indicate the program for which you would like a DVD. Or you can send your tax-deductible check made out to GEM. To GEM, Post Office Box 180, Riverdale Station, Bronx, New York, 10471. And again, please remember to indicate which program you would like to receive on DVD with our compliments. And we thank you for your kind support.